2011 New York, April 24th, Route 55 north to Route 20. Another one-day wonder trip. I dropped Dave on Route 20 and I drove our new homemade truck camper to Route 55. It was a cloudy day with the temperatures alternating between warm and cold. I passed a lake with people fishing, and then I went through a power line clearing. The forest was waking up to spring with skunk cabbage buds coming up in the wet area, and I had seen some Dutchman's breeches. I believe I saw some coltsfoot wildflowers that was just starting to bloom here on my way out down the hill. I reached Nuclear Lake. One of my books that I had read said that from 1958 to 1973, the area housed a private nuclear research facility, United Nuclear Corp., which experimented with bomb-grade uranium and plutonium. In 1972, a chemical explosion at the facility scattered radioactive plutonium dust, leading to contamination of the surrounding woods. Today, the area is open to the public and is considered a beautiful section of the Appalachian Trail, with hiking trails and scenic views. I had seen no one fishing here. I could still see the road that had led to the lake. I had seen only one other person on the trail today, so I have had a rather quiet afternoon. Dave was looking down at me from the top of a hill that I was climbing up. He told me that on his side, he had seen more people on the trail, including the caretaker that maintains this section of the trail. This section was very nice and was very well maintained. Even Penny Hill Road, a dirt road where the trail had crossed, had a sign for the AT. There was a nice view up here, and I saw some daffodils that were just starting to bud. We sat here and ate our lunch, and the weather had gotten colder. Rain was forecasted for tonight and the next 2 days. Of course, it was on the days that we had planned to hike over this Easter weekend. We separated, and I reached a viewpoint with a nice view on the top of West Mountain of the farmland below. However, most of the farmlands had condos on them now. I did see one old barn in the distance with a piece of some kind of old farm equipment. It is sad to see that a lot of the farms in New York are now being developed. I reached Telephone Pioneer Shelter, a log-style shelter with a picnic table and a nice view. However, someone was spending the night here, so I did not look around very much. I passed through a swamp on my way out. I reached Route 20, and I drove over to where Dave had dropped me off to pick him up. I had to wait for Dave for about 30 minutes. When he finally came out and walked over to the truck, he told me that he had accidentally went the wrong way on the road. He had also told me that when he was hiking the trail that he had got off the trail to pee. When he turned around, he saw a female hiker standing on the trail. She told him that she had waited for him to finish. How weird. We drove back to Route 55 and parked on the side road near the AT, and it was a very busy road. We camped here for the first time in our homemade truck camper. It was not an ideal parking spot to camp because someone lives on the other side of the road. However, it was nice in here, as it was nice and warm, and we were cooking our first meal in the camper. It is nice that we can camp near the trail and do not have to drive back to the trail to hike the AT on the other side of the road. This is our second time out with our new homemade truck camper. We could not afford to buy a truck camper and had to wait 17 years for a camper to do the Appalachian Trail, and now it is finally completed. Dave had built it, and it is perfect for our needs. We had woke up in the morning to rain and a leaky camper. Dave had built the camper on a Ford Ranger, which had taken him about a month to build. He had made it so that we could camp near the AT so that we could save time getting onto the trail. He had not finished building the camper before our trip, so it had no inside walls yet. The water was leaking down the walls. We got out of the camper and the rain was coming down very hard with very cold temperatures and a wind of about 30 miles per hour. We could see the trail and it was flooded, and it was forecasted to rain heavy like this for the rest of this weekend. Not a very appealing hiking weekend. We ended up bailing out on this trip and heading home again.